Alright guys, gals, and non-binary pals, we've got an update on the Ethan Klein lawsuit towards iDubbbz. Yes, it is confirmed now. iDubbbz basically confirmed in a stream clip of his that he is being sued by Ethan Klein. I do have a previous Internet Versus video I reacted to on this topic where I think it was just still a possibility. It wasn't actually, like, being fully talked about yet, but I think now it is basically confirmed that iDubbbz is being sued by Ethan Klein, and really, I don't agree with this lawsuit at all. I feel like a majority, from what I've seen, and maybe this is just like anecdotal, a majority of people do not agree with Ethan Klein on this lawsuit because ever since like Noah Samsen, right? Like that was like the first, I guess, lawsuit we saw from Ethan in a long time. And then it just sort of steamrolled into lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. So he was suing Noah Samsen, and then, he sued Denims, Frogan, and Caseytron for stealing his content, basically. And then he threatened to sue Sean the Black, but then he retracted it, I guess. And now he is suing iDubbbz for some level of defamation. We'll go into it as we get into more details in this video, but it just, at a certain point, I am getting very sick of the lawsuits that Ethan is doing, and I really think it's kind of unnecessary, but we'll get into it as we go through this video more.
Recently, iDubbbz took to stream to announce that he is officially being sued for defamation by Ethan Klein. No longer just talks of a cease and desist, but that the lawsuit is actually going through in Canada. With it all stemming from that stream where Ian brought up a comment that Destiny made.
Yeah, and I feel like the point that people bring up being like, there's a difference between having it as an overlay on your stream versus saying it in a stream chat where no one will see it. They're both still forms of defamation. I feel like that argument is so fucking dumb. Like, I've never understood that argument. If anything, I feel like people would take what Destiny is saying more seriously because Destiny has a bigger audience and people tend to take Destiny more seriously. I'm not saying Destiny is a good guy by any stretch of the imagination. Like, Destiny is not a good person. But, like, at a certain point, you kind of have to understand that Destiny is also a really, really gross person.
Destiny accused Ethan of doing things to his children, and iDubbbz showed it on his stream. As a result, Ethan has garnered more criticism from people online than usual, with even Critical jumping in and making a video disavowing the lawsuits, saying that it is an attack on free speech, and iDubbbz's point was very clearly not to accuse Ethan of this statement by Destiny.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure iDubbbz specifically said that he wasn't, like, doing it to, like, call Ethan Klein like a pedophile. He was just saying, yeah, Ethan, I think you should address it. I mean, like, to a certain point, I think iDubbbz was trying to do it to be a little bit petty, but I don't think he was subscribing to the idea that he was a pedophile. Destiny actually was, and the only reason why Ethan is not going to sue Destiny, like, Ethan uses the excuse it's because iDubbbz is in Canada and Destiny is in America, so it would be easier to sue iDubbbz in Canada because of the laws working differently there. And I feel like Ethan is just using that as an excuse more than anything. I think that's an excuse. I feel like even if iDubbbz lived in America, he would still try to be here. Like, to me, it's pretty clear that it's less about what iDubbbz is saying and more so Ethan can, like, financially bully him into oblivion with this fucking lawsuit because he feels betrayed at the friendship. And I get it. Like, you know, your friendship lasted 8 years, you trusted iDubbbz, and you feel a little bit petty, and you want to see him burn. Like, I understand, like, Ethan's frustration to a point, but, like, nobody fucking takes what iDubbbz is saying seriously. I don't think anyone looked at iDubbbz's stream and thought unironically, oh my god, Ethan actually is a pedophile. If people were thinking Ethan Klein was a pedophile, they were gonna think that anyways, even if iDubbbz didn't fucking show it. I'm not trying to be an asshole, and I'm not saying that it's true by any stretch at all, because Ethan definitely isn't. It's, like, a horrible thing to accuse him of. But, like, people that were gonna think that about him were gonna think about it anyways. You get what I'm saying? Like, no one takes iDubbbz seriously, is the point that I'm making.
But rather that Ethan is scared of Destiny, and that even when Destiny says something as cruel and terrible as that, Ethan won't go after him. H3 fans and defenders, though, say that this is irrelevant, and this is Ethan's kids getting involved, and Ethan is on a warpath and must do what is right to defend his children. But some others are starting to turn on H3, including even some from his own subreddit, saying that they're just tired of all this lawfare.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I fall in the latter half. Like, listen, the Noah Samsen lawsuit, completely justified. Noah Samson, what he said was objectively defamatory. Denham's Casey Tron Frogan, also justified because they admitted to maliciously reacting to Ethan's content. So, like, all of those are justified, and I completely understand where they're coming from when they say that. But I can't, at a certain point, again, it feels like it's just lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. The iDubbbz one is just doing too much. I don't particularly feel bad for iDubbbz because he's not a good person, but I also think it's just so unnecessary. And I, like, you know, beforehand, I never understood the argument of the bad precedent people were talking about when they came to the Ethan Klein lawsuits. But in this case with the iDubbbz lawsuit, yeah, it kind of sets a bad precedent to be going after people that you can financially bully into oblivion just because you want an excuse to do it. I genuinely don't really think that it's about, like, Ethan's kids or it's about Ethan or iDubbbz living in Canada. I think he's just using that as an excuse.
There's lots to get into.
And also the fact that, like, the reason why he can't sue Destiny as easily is because when Destiny had his own allegations of the CSAM of a 17-year-old, and when Ethan Klein was covering that in the summer of last year, basically Ethan was just, like, saying, I think he covered it poorly. I think he, like, called Destiny a pedophile, which could legally count as defamation. So Destiny could potentially countersue, and that's why Ethan can't easily sue Destiny. That's, like, the only reason why he won't go after him. But even then, I feel like that just adds more credibility to the fact that Ethan Klein is just trying to fucking financially obliterate iDubbbz.
So let's just jump in. Welcome to the internet versus Ethan's iDubbbz lawsuits. It starts when the clip of iDubbbz announcing it makes the rounds and multiple accounts post it. Lil Weasel tweets it out with the caption, Ian Joma, aka iDubbbz, announces he is being sued by Ethan Klein for defamation. Ethan is a monster, and anyone that doesn't see how he is destroying free speech online will look back on this with disgust.
It is official. I am being sued by Ethan Klein in the courts of Calgary, Alberta, for defamation. I do plan on fighting against this, but for now it is in the hands of the courts and our attorneys. I will say that it worries me what it...
Yeah, I mean, like, as much as Ethan Klein is, like, there are a lot of things I respect about him, this is just a massive L for Ethan Klein. I cannot fucking defend Ethan on this. This is objectively just, like, not a good look for him.
Means for the commentary community, and especially the Canadian commentary community. But this is about all I can say, at least for now. I'm sorry that the stream is so short. I wish I could give you a lot more grease, but I will resume the regularly scheduled content on Thursday. Again, I'm sorry it's so short, but we will be back. And I appreciate you being here for this important announcement. Have a good day, everyone.
And Pete
All right, well, there you go.
says, I think we call this a fuck around and find out.
I mean, I just don't agree with that because, like, again, like, Ethan... again, I don't agree with iDubbbz putting the screenshot overlay on the thing. Like, I think that's very petty of him, but he wasn't trying to use that to communicate that Ethan Klein was a pedophile. Like, he even said, like, outwardly saying, I'm not saying that this is true or whatever. Like, he's basically just putting it on screen. And if anything, what Destiny actually meant it with malicious intention. That's what makes this lawsuit bullshit, is the fact that he won't go after Destiny. He's going after people like fucking iDubbbz, who really, in the grand scheme of things, don't matter in 2026.
Plain Rock replies to this gift saying, oh no. Anyway, Klonoa says,
I mean, it's fine. You don't necessarily have to feel bad for iDubbbz. Like, he's a shitty person, I get it, but the precedent that this sets is the more concerning part.
Fan of the lawsuits, but maybe don't be fucking stupid and have a screenshot of a allegation against a father and being like, ooh, I don't know about this guy's on your stream. And Dr. Skimbo says, maybe he should go after the actual guy who made the allegation then. Metalbender attaches this clip with the caption, I can understand why he's suing him. It's because he said this. Oh wait, that's not him. That's the guy with a Nazi son that hates his dad.
I hope CPS takes his kids. I'll say it. I do. And I hope they cry about it. And then CPS come for my kid. And then CPS can take Dan's kids. You know what? All of our children at the end of the day will just be fucked.
It's just so weird to see people be like, oh, there's a difference between saying the pedophile accusation in a fucking chat room versus putting it as an overlay on your stream. They're using it as like a justification. I'm just like, oh, okay. Got it. So you're allowed to defame somebody as long as it's in a fucking chat room and not on like a fucking live stream. Okay, got it. Cool. Like, amazing argument. Thanks, guys. Wow, that makes so much sense to me. I don't know, man. I just don't get it. Maybe there's something I'm not understanding here. But like, to me, like, if anything, when Destiny says it, people are gonna take him more seriously. Like, he is more prone to defaming. And again, the only reason why Ethan Klein won't sue him is because he covered the whole Destiny allegations poorly, and so Destiny can countersue more effectively. And he's also not as TBI brained as iDubbbz is.
By Child Protective Services. Okay? And that'll just be, and then we can all relieve ourselves. He's just going to be a rehash of every other fucking video made. God, it's so crazy. How
this was during the whole beef that Destiny and Ethan had during the summer of last year.
This,
to my understanding,
fucking retard.
Whoa!
As he's spamming on Instagram and coughing and dying of whatever diseases he has, is telling me like, oh, Destiny, I used to like you so much and you need help and blah blah blah. It's like the exact shit that Hassan was doing to him. Good memes.
Yara quote tweets the post by saying, Ethan is a deranged freak who's using his wealth to financially ruin anyone who betrayed him.
You know, I gotta say, Nyara, I hate that you're a Hassan cum guzzler, but I agree with you this time, Nyara.
And all I'm wondering is, how...
I will say, like, my thoughts on Nyara is a lot of people tend to slander Nyara by calling them a groomer just because they communicate their opinions poorly about trans people and trans kids. That doesn't make them a groomer. And a lot of the people that echo these grooming claims support a fucking pedophile president. So, like, as far as I'm concerned, their opinions about Nyara are invalid. The only thing I don't like about Nyara is the fact that they're a bit of a Hassan cum guzzler, but I guess... to be fair, I'm not really as concerned with Hassan right now, just because the far right is worse.
Often does the lawsuit mention Hassan?
Right now it is, anyway.
iDubbbz quotes his own clip by saying, I am being sued. And Gary Newman replies, everyone turns into a person they would have hated when they were younger. It took Ethan 10 years. Wickers says, I hope he wins and finally wipes you fucking backstabbing failures off the internet for good. Squidward Tennis Ball says, you should have stopped talking about his children. Yes, it was Destiny that made that stupid statement, but you being a fucking piece of shit retard decided to put that statement on your stream. You forget that Ethan Klein is a father and he loves his children very much. Dipshit.
I mean, sure, that's fine, but I hate to be that guy. I feel like Ethan is using his kids as like an excuse to try to like financially bully these people. Like, I hate to be like, listen, the CPS and Human Skulls thing was terrible. The whole lies about your kids getting Giardia and contracting Giardia, like, that's all terrible stuff. Like, what happened, like, it's bad, and I do feel for Ethan, and he was objectively in the right in that situation, but he's like constantly using that as an excuse to continuously go after these people for years, for a month, not even years, because it's been like 1 year since it happened, but for such a long time. And at a certain point you kind of just have to move on. Like, this is the same guy who says he doesn't really care about his optics anymore. And like, I also get that like caring about optics too much is a thing, to the point where you get audience capture. Believe me, I came from a fucking gaming community that cares way too much about optics. But like, also, you do have to care about your optics just a little bit. I think everybody to some extent cares about their optics and how they're viewed by people to some extent. And you should care just a little bit, right? But like, if Ethan doesn't give a shit about his optics and he's just going to go out here suing people willy-nilly, like, you can only do it so many times before people develop a certain kind of opinion on you. And that's just like, again, people are going to develop the opinion that you're a rich asshole that just wants to go suing people, and that they're going to develop a bunch of opinions that may not necessarily reflect your character. Like, that's just the opinion people are going to form about you, and you kind of have to accept that if that's how you want to be seen. Yet at a certain point, you keep complaining about it on your podcast. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I there's a lot I like about Ethan, but like, I it's hard for me to defend him here. I'm not gonna lie.
And EVP says, lol, Lamau. He loves his children so much, he's suing the guy who said he didn't molest them. Stephanie Gale quote tweets the clip by saying, I'm gonna be honest, I used to dislike iDubbbz. I don't watch him, but I have seen enough to 100% see his immense true effort in bettering himself. That's dope and something Ethan will never do because he's obsessed with self-victimizing / refusing to self-reflect.
I mean, it's fine if he wants to stop doing edgy content, but like, Ian overcorrected like crazy. Like, he whips himself every fucking day, and he's been whipping himself into a soulless character.
Have your back, Ian. Shaleepy quotes the clip by saying, what the fuck? Actual bloodthirsty heathen. Yeats also tweets out the same clip saying iDubbbz confirms he is being sued by Ethan Klein for defamation, and WestJet replies, dog, iDubbbz is already broke. He's gonna be homeless now. Sensitive society.
He's not just gonna be homeless. Dude is gonna be like... He's gonna be in like a pitch black space with nothing. Like, that's... Like, it's not even gonna be homeless. Like, iDubbbz is just gonna cease to exist at this rate. Like, he's already... Like, dude's already at rock bottom.
He replies with this picture of IShowSpeed. Leroy Lemon replies with this edit of Pegasus in the caption. All of the lolcows are catching lawsuits. The legendary series will be unstoppable. June the Keen quote tweets the clip by saying,
I don't know. I just don't understand how people don't see this as like a bad... Like, I get... Like... There are a lot of things you can sympathize with Ethan for, but like, how do people not see this as a bad precedent so that for him to be like financially bullying whoever the fuck he wants or whoever says a bad thing about him? Because that's really what this seems like it is more than anything, especially considering iDubbbz didn't even subscribe to the idea that Ethan Klein was a pedophile.
Depending on the cost of this suit, this could mean that streaming for Ian has been a financial net negative. He may have been financially better off if he just went offline and did nothing for the past year or so. Brutal. And Raphael replies, I'm sure it'd live or better because of a dog killer suing people when he feels like it. Are you doing an Ethan video? And June says, I would make an update video if there's enough interest on it. Then again, the space he is in has some of the most mentally deranged supporters / detractors I've seen, so I'm not sure it would even be worth it. And not Nicholas Durio quotes June with these screenshots in the caption, you had no fear making videos on these two, so why is the situation different when it's time to cover Ethan? It's almost like these lawsuits have chilled free speech. Attaching a screenshot of a video June made on Destiny and Hassan. And Daniel replies, bruh, attaching this video he made on H3H3 from Misfit to Hypocrite, 2 million views and 4 years ago. And not Nicholas Durio says, this was 4 years ago when Ethan was fat and hated. Ethan's addict also tweets out the iDubbbz clip with the caption, degenerate loser Ethan Klein is officially suing iDubbbz. And Denim's quote tweets the clip by saying, just one more lawsuit, bro. One more and the reputation won't be dirt. And Ethan Klein parody account replies, I'm re-suing you because of this post. Anthony Sargon quote tweets the clip by saying, Ethan Klein is gonna get 3 fat L's in a row. Started with Denims. Noah Samson will win, so will iDubbbz.
I don't know if maybe Noah Samson might win. To be fair, defamation in America is really difficult to prove. There's so many criteria that needs to be checked off. Like, you have to really, really prove that, like, he ruined your character. And because Ethan Klein still has, like, a huge audience, arguably he has, like, a stronger audience than Noah Samson does, I don't know if he'll be able to prove that lawsuit necessarily. I'm not saying Noah Samson doesn't deserve it, because Noah Samson was saying some really nasty things about Ethan. He was calling Ethan, like, a genocidal baby killer and, like, a supporter of genocide, which is obviously not true. That's not the take that Ethan has. Yeah, like, I don't really like the whole lawsuit route. With Denims as well, and Casey Tron and Frogan, like, they're all, those are valid lawsuits. The iDubbbz one, in my opinion, is not.
Ethan and Ela Klein have self-destructed their entire brand in the span of 2 years. Something to behold. And that bastard Squirtus says, you're a Frogan mod, right? Did Frogan tell you why she defaulted whilst using the GoFundMe money raised to fight the case on stupid shit like her nails and fits when she couldn't make money? And Anthony says, I am no one's mod. Froggy Tonic quotes the clip by saying, so Ethan's lawyers really did find an infinite money glitch, huh? The glitch is financial abuse of a mentally decaying millionaire, by the way. And Arius says, this is just another example of how we do not tax rich people enough. Several frivolous lawsuits in a few years, that should ruin people financially. And Froggy says, more so indicative of a broken justice system that rewards the rich. There is a point where even at a big tax rate, you still have enough to pursue legal actions that someone can't even fight. Make the recipients of the lawsuit not have to pay anything. And
yeah, I mean, like I said, it's like, this is... The anti-Ethan crowd is really winning on this one, even though I really fucking despise the anti-Ethan crowd.
still a losing final verdict.
It's crazy. Like, I don't think we've had a video where the anti-Ethan crowd looks better than Ethan Klein himself. I don't think we've ever had a coverage of that yet, but I guess here we are now.
Bad Banner also tweets,
and I really, again, I don't like the anti-Ethan crowd at all.
Now the clip saying Idubbbz is being sued by Ethan Klein, and Mama Oka says, "I'm not sure how I feel about this." And then a user replies, but they deleted their post, and Mama Oka says, "Exactly. I'm starting to feel very iffy about what Ethan is doing. And to be honest, my worry is it's two lefties fighting and ruining things for everyone. But I'm willing to learn about this. I need the Diorio opinion." The Ebony Maw quote.
Oh, great. Are you gonna wait for... Do you just, like, appeal to the authority on Nicholas Diorio? Are you just, like, incapable of forming opinions yourself or parsing through information yourself? You just need Daddy Diorio to do all the work for you?
Quotes the clip by saying, "Punished Ethan Klein phase is, without any shred of doubt, the best Ethan Klein phase. I still don't like him, and I have no interest in his content, but Klein going after all the double-crossing bottom feeders he used to surround himself with has been a joy to watch." And his Son of Gondor replies with a Henry Kissinger quote saying, "It's a pity both sides can't lose." And Maw says, "As long as Ethan goes after these people, I don't mind if he continues to win. Until recent events with him going to Cuba, I think Ethan was the best chance to bring Hassan down a peg." PPP quotes the clip by saying, "Ian Washburn once said, quote, either all speech is okay or none of it is okay," end quote. The implication being in a free society, we must tolerate some speech we find distasteful, disgusting, or even untrue in order to preserve our general liberties. Ian Joma has since stated that after he matured, he believes none of it is okay, and any speech that offends anyone for any reason is unacceptable and should be punished. He moved to Canada, a country that sadly agrees with his newfound views. It is hard to find any sympathy for the position he finds himself in, especially considering he was signal boosting perhaps the worst thing you could say about anyone, let alone a former best friend.
And sure, you know what, like, you can criticize Ian for, like, being a dumbass and signal boosting it, like, obviously very dumb and idiot thing to do, but, like, he was saying that it wasn't, like, true or whatever. Like, he says this in the clip, like, he says that I'm not saying anything in this claim is a fact, but, like, Ethan should address it. And, like, oh, instead of fucking suing Destiny, the guy who made the original claim, he decides to go after Ian, who, like, the only reason he's doing that is because he's being fucking petty. And he's just, like, projecting his, like, heartbreak over the fucking friendship. Like, yes, we get it. Like, people saying shit about your kids, it's bad. Like, I get it. It's bad. The whole CPS and Human Skulls thing is bad. But it feels like he constantly uses that as a justification for his behavior. And you can only do that so many times before people, again, they start formulating opinions on you. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just not, I don't know, dude. Like, it's just like, this is a fucking frivolous lawsuit.
That they molest their own children, in a context where CPS has been called for BS reasons and you justify the CPS call to millions of people. He smugly believed because he was on the right side of history that his victory was inevitable and any despicable tactic was justified against enemies of progress, i.e. whoever Hassan disagrees with. There's so much schadenfreude to relish in seeing someone who believes others' speech should be silenced being silenced themselves. It is very easy for me to laugh at this situation and say, you reap what you sow, and play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Okay, I mean, if that's the take you want to have, I guess that's the take you want to have. I don't fully agree. I think it's pointless as fuck to sue Idubbbz over this, because, like, who gives a shit about him? But, like, whatever. At the end of the day, I'm not really that enveloped in this drama. Like, I think it's dumb and stupid that Ethan is really going through with this, but what are you gonna do?
However, it doesn't change the fact I believe the same things that Ian Washburn once believed. I want a society where people feel free to criticize anyone or anything, no matter how rich or powerful they may be. Where people can make jokes and offend anyone without fear of financial ruin or imprisonment. Private attacks on speech are just as serious as attacks from the state. None of us want to live in a world where rich, petty, private tyrants like Ethan Klein can police speech and silence criticism with lawfare and produce a chilling effect on broader expression. I cannot for those reasons support this lawsuit in principle. I was born a Canadian citizen and have no choice but to live under the tyranny of these laws that one day may be used to silence me and destroy my livelihood.
I don't know, man. Is just Canada a tyranny? That sounds like a massive exaggeration. I don't live in Canada, but, like, pretty sure it's a lot better in Canada compared to a lot of other countries in the world. Like, in fucking Saudi Arabia, you get criticized and killed. Or, sorry, you get killed for criticizing the government in Saudi Arabia. Like, I feel like you have it a lot better than other people would in the world.
Idubbbz, however, has
gotta be grateful to some extent, right?
Needs a solution to all of this. All he has to do is simply move back into America, into the loving embrace of freedom and Donald Trump. The lawsuit judgment will be unenforceable against him from a foreign state due to the Speech Act. Afterwards, he should repent of being a tyrannical, freedom-hating F and kiss the soil in America with joy, treasuring the freedom that so many others in this world will never have. He does not need your donations or even moral support because all he needs to do is go home. He would never do the same for any of us either. I am an internet clown for a living, basically a professional troll, and so I don't want to have to be serious and shouldn't be taken as such, but if you wanted my non-shitpost take, here it is. And Tits replies, what about Stephen?
Oh, that's a weird name. I'm gonna just censor that, if that's okay. Let's cut this out.
Bonnell III.
Audio only for this section, guys. Just to be safe.
Why didn't Ethan Klein sue him if the messages came from him? And Ian Joma just went full Tonkasaw with it. And PPP says, it's obvious bullshit based on how easy it is to win in Canada versus the US, and how rich and Zionist Destiny is compared to how poor and Hassan-brained IDubbbz is.
Yeah, I mean, Destiny, I'm pretty sure on stream Destiny has like justified Israel committing a genocide onto Palestine, which would be some form of Zionism. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And Sunita Garrison.
Also, a lot of people falsely say Ethan Klein's a Zionist, which is just not true. Like, that's like, it feeds into like the anti-Ethan like hive mind. That's like not true. Like, Ethan's take on Israel-Palestine is that the civilians of Israel are not bad people, but the government, what they're doing is terrible. That's like the most normal take you can give on the Israel-Palestine situation.
Says no, you were just sweeping. Ethan immediately said that Destiny saying that was okay, since he was lying intentionally. Regardless of jurisdiction, Ethan didn't care about what Destiny said. He even said that he probably took it back a few days later, so it's okay. He didn't. And PP.
Yeah, again, if he's willing to hand wave Destiny for this so easily, again, it's like Ethan Klein is petty. He is more focused on his petty beliefs. Just to be clear, by the way, I want to give a little bit of perspective so you guys really understand the point that I'm trying to make. Couple years ago, if Ethan was still doing the podcast, the Leftovers podcast with Hassan, he would have been calling out people like Asmongold today. Asmongold, who is a fucking white supremacist. He is constantly dog whistling that black people are less than humans on his stream all the fucking time. He constantly says that black people have a lower IQ. He also says he would rather have robots in this country than brown people. Just another racist. Like, he's constantly spewing racist shit on his stream because Asmongold loves white supremacy. He would also be calling out fucking Nux Taku for being a danger to fucking children. By the way, Nick Andros released his part 2 video. I gotta watch that at some point. He would call out Tectone being a fucking rapist, calling out Donald Trump, who is also a rapist, by the way, which is confirmed in the civil case. And in some of the newer released Epstein files, he's mentioned like thousands of fucking times in some of the new Epstein files releases. And some of the bigger claims is that he was threatening to murder the victims on Epstein Island as well. Like, this is the shit that Ethan Klein would be talking about if he still did the Leftovers podcast with Hassan. And like, I'm not saying Hassan is a good person, but like, at what point can we just sit back and realize all this fucking drama of constantly going after Hassan in his orbit is just dumb internet slop? At what point can we realize that, like, why isn't Ethan Klein going after Asmongold, right? Like, people like fucking that deserve to be fucking called out. People who are an actual threat to the fucking social conversation of politics every single fucking day. Like, it makes no fucking sense to me. Like, the only time Ethan really called out Asmongold was just, like, for his fucking take on, like, certain video games being, like, too woke or something. And then Ethan Klein was like, oh, I just disagree with your take. Oh, but, like, Ian is a disgusting person. It's like, okay, no one cares about Ian. No one gives a fuck about IDubbbz. Like, that's what makes all of this so pointless. It feels disproportionate, and it feels unnecessary. And it feels really petty. Petty to a fault.
As a fuck Destiny, he should sue him too, obviously, if he wanted to be consistent. But he knows it's much harder to sue someone in the US who isn't living in poverty.
Well, that, and also Ethan Klein covered the Destiny drama poorly, and Destiny can easily countersue. That's why he's not suing Destiny, and Ethan knows that. Ethan's not stupid.
Ethan Klein is doing this for revenge and said as much, and it's bullshit. And Sneed says yes, but Ethan was not mad at all with Destiny. When he initially announced this lawsuit, he didn't even mention him, so he doesn't care at all about being called a child molester. So why should we? He only cares about his gay feud. Destiny even said he is glad a CPS was called, lol. Anisa Joma also quote tweeted PPP and said, "This fat yogurt-faced moron doesn't understand that if Ethan wins this, it means him and his buddy could be sued by many creators in the near future." And there's a community note note that attaches the quote that we just read saying private attacks on speech are serious. I cannot support it on principle. And Anisa continues.
Yeah, so I guess Anisa just didn't read all of it. I mean, to be fair, like, they have been snarking after Ian and Anisa a lot, so maybe Anisa just, like, didn't read the entire tweet, which is still kind of on her for not reading the entire tweet and understanding the context of it.
Also, why are you writing a book? To try and squirm into a comfortable position you think will keep a favor with your fans and the looming threat of Ethan or others' attention?
Well, if you think he's writing a book, why even bother responding to it then? Just be like, yeah, I'm not reading all of that. You don't have to make it like a public spectacle on Twitter. Just fucking move on. Who cares?
And PPP responds, please try to actually read before commenting next time, Anisa. This website has resources that can help you learn to read. Hope this helps.
Okay. That's funny. That's a really clever response.
Attaching a link to Children's Literacy Canada.
Oh my god, that's
Over on the
that's hysterical.
live stream fail subreddit, alt user 2025 also posts the clip, and Makima Goat replies, imagine showing this to someone a decade ago. And Virgo shows this a screenshot of Idibs and Ethan with the caption, genuinely made me sad. And
really is crazy where things have gone. I remember the 2016-2017 era of content creation. It feels like a lifetime ago since then.
Alert Circuit says, crazy Idibs started this whole charity event that was fun to watch and threw it in the garbage just to make a diss video on his former friend. What a waste. And Edgy Slusher says, getting brainwashed does things to people. Embarrassed Gur says, damn, Ethan putting his lawyers, kids, and grandkids through college. And Swamp King says, excited for the post-rehab retrospective. And Beanie Baby says, who would go to rehab? And No Inspector says, H3 snarkers accuse Ethan of being a drug addict because while he took a lot of pills in the past, Ethan has Tourette's, and when he's stressed out, his tics like sniffing and coughing become far more frequent and aggressive. Antari 007 says, remember when Anisa came to the stream laughing that they'll never sue them because they have the same lawyer? And Shadowheart's Armpit replies, another major dub for the Anisa's genius strategies. She could run a Walmart into bankruptcy, genuinely too dumb to make a single good decision. And Farfald says, hell, I'll go one better. She could run a Costco into bankruptcy. Over on the Leftovers H3, Lollyhole also posts the clip with the caption,
Lollyhole? What kind of a name is fucking Lollyhole? Check that person's hard drive.
Ian announces that Ethan Klein is suing him, and Recovered Gang Stalker replies, Ethan is doing so much damage to speech online. He is willing to lose everything to protect his ego. He is a monster. And ARVR91 says, and of course it's gonna be crickets from all the news channels on YouTube. And then OP replies, I am expecting them to stay silent. However, there has been a shift lately, and I mean even prior to the tentative ruling in Denham's case. Like, the Kilotonics video really had an impact, which I was surprised about, considering it's 4 hours long and a lot of—
Oh, I didn't even bother reacting to Kilotonics' video. Kilotonics' video is fucking boring. It literally, all it is Hassan good, Ethan bad for like 4 hours. And it's also a lot of, it's like every other Ethan, like boring ass fucking Ethan Klein hit piece that we've seen over and over again. They like rehash the Gallant point for like the dozenth time. They fucking it's like a lot of it is just the same talking points we've already seen over and over again. It's so fucking boring. Like, we've heard it all. Like, yes, there are things you can criticize Ethan for, but like, I don't know. Everybody fucking sucks here.
The info he included has
to be fair, the anti-Ethan crowd like actually seems fucking reasonable for once in this like whole debacle with suing iDubbbz. It's like the only time the anti-Ethan crowd actually looks good in this situation, even though they are not good people.
Out in the public domain for over a year, but maybe for some of these guys, Kilo was the right messenger to get them to listen to that message. And then his initial cease and desist to iDubbbz got a very negative
reaction. Yeah, Kilo's video was not good. Yeah, I literally fell asleep. Like, I couldn't even make it through like 20 minutes of the video before turning it off. It was so fucking boring.
Action.
I'm not even kidding. I was like on my way to reacting to the Kilo video, and then 20 minutes in, I actually just turned off the video, and then I wound up never uploading it because it was just so fucking boring.
Even from iDubbbz haters. There were a lot of people saying it was fucking stupid to sue Ian for what Destiny said. And then his Noah Samson lawsuit happened around the same time too. And everyone said that was fucking stupid. I think Ethan has significantly overplayed his hand here. Over the last 1 to 2 months, each successive legal escalation has been met with more scrutiny, more criticism, and more people saying he's gone too far. Even his own fans are feeling it. And I imagine many of them are going to start realizing that this isn't Ethan's our petty king anymore. He's their Matt Haas. And See-Through Didgeridoo says, suing a white guy? Maybe they might set up. Difficult Grapefruit says, I really don't understand how on earth it could be defamation when it was a comment a whole other person made. And
yeah, but I mean, again, that's what makes the lawsuit bullshit, is the fact that Ethan Klein isn't actually going after the person who made the comment. In fact, as a matter of fact, he hand waved Destiny making that comment and okayed him, and he's only going after iDubbbz, who didn't even like agree or said that it was a fact that Ethan Klein was a pedophile. Again, you could say that it was stupid for Ian to do that. Obviously, he's being petty, but like he wasn't trying to, you know what I mean? Like he wasn't actually like factually saying he was a pedophile. You know what I mean? It makes no sense.
Carbon.
It's disproportionate. It's uneven, and it's inconsistent with what Ethan believes in.
Fiber replies, it doesn't matter. He just wants to tie them up with litigation and ruin them financially, regardless of the outcome. And Sexist Hunter says, I'm sure he's getting off to this. So sick. He has way more grounds to sue Destiny, but he would never do that to his baby girl. Over on H3 Productions, June Moon Loon also posted the clip saying Ethan is suing iDubbbz, and Who Is Kabir Sign says, every sentence he spoke sounded like it had a question mark at the end of it, lol. And Iro Show says, it is official. I am being sued by Ethan Klein in the courts of Calgary, Alberta, for defamation. I do plan. Desperate Ring says could have just announced the CPS visit, and DJ says it didn't even need to go that far. He could have done everything up until having that Destiny tweet up over his stream. And Madman says, so why not sue Destiny? An independent ad replies, to my understanding, Destiny was mad Ethan accused him of SA/harassment, so he posted that with some sort of disclaimer like, wow, doesn't it suck when people post lies about you, Ethan? Ian reposted the accusation with none of the context, making it seem like an assertion of fact. Like, I know it's all screwy because of social media, but it's in the same spirit of Destiny saying, Ethan, wouldn't you hate it if people said Ethan is a... And Ian misquoted it as, Destiny said Ethan is a... Also, I really doubt Ethan and Hila care about what Destiny says or thinks about them. They've never met Destiny. They're not friends. On the other hand, they saw Ian as a close friend, someone they took career hits to stick up for and defend, someone who had met their kids, etc. Even if they could sue both Destiny and Ian, I imagine they'd have more heat for Ian. Destiny is just internet beef. Ian and Anisa was a genuine personal betrayal. An Oat Milk Killer says, personal betrayal isn't something you can sue for, though. The comments made by Destiny could be seen as defamation and libel, which are things you can actually take legal action against. But the fact he's still suing Ian instead of Destiny makes it so abundantly obvious what he's doing here, and I think that might not play in his favor when it comes to how the courts will rule. Ben Stiller Gaming says, I'm tired, boss. And Mishmosh Mush replies, the same friend. And Edward Sampson says, imagine how tired they are of 3 years of coordinated harassment that has done significant harm to their podcast and brand.
Well, I think Ethan it's kind of Ethan's fault to some extent. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he kind of does it to himself a lot of times, where he constantly feels the need to respond to harassment and snarkers. And like, yes, CPS was bad. The Human Skulls was bad. Like, yes, like, I sympathize with people saying nasty shit about your kids. Like, I get it. There's a lot of it that's justified to respond to. But like, you cannot deny that Ethan does some of it to himself. Constantly responding to snarkers, constantly just making the podcast into like, hey, you know, we're just gonna respond to snark endlessly. You have some level of control of your optics, and Ethan Klein is the guy that says that he doesn't care about optics. So gotta make a change for your content if you want to be seen in a better light. Or like, I'm not justifying all the bad shit people are doing to you, but fucking respond to it better as well. Like, the more you respond to it, the more you're giving people opportunities to keep saying shit about you. So be more productive with your podcast, and especially be more productive with your optics. All I can say.
Enlightenment Flavor says, constantly suing people is doing nothing for their reputation on either side, though. Whether it's understandable to the diehard fans, it doesn't really matter. Slow Like Honey also replies to Ben Stiller Gaming by saying, Ethan has an exhausting amount of petty, but I'm here for it. And Mishmosh Mush says, I don't know, man. I just miss the Jolly. And Big Guant says, Jolly died when his kids were involved. He's been clear on this. It's not coming back till he feels his family is secure.
He just uses that as an excuse, though. Like, I don't really think it's about his family. That just feels like an excuse. I think, like, I genuinely think Ethan is so goddamn petty that he is willing to make this lawsuit more about himself than his family. Like, he could give less of a fuck if it was like Ian said a pedophile comment, because Destiny made that fucking comment about him, and he fucking hand waved it. He could give less of a fuck about that. I don't think it's about his family. I genuinely don't think it is. And I refuse to believe it at this point. I genuinely think he is using that as an excuse to go after people and bully them into the ground financially. That's what I honest to God think.
Because Twitch won't moderate the Hassan.
It really is like pointing in that direction.
on Orbit Sphere, and Reddit actively supports the H3 snark page. Literally the only recourse he has is to put the fear of financial ruin in the industrial hate complex, and it's more or less worked. The biggest names involved in the H3 family harassment have scattered like roaches, even those not sued yet. No one wants to risk stepping on a rake that allows Ethan to force them to pay tens of thousands in attorney fees, regardless of if Ethan can win or not. Main show is also very heavy on goofs, gaffes, and typical celeb drama. War Room hardly happens anymore. Lawsuits are just the occasional news we get on Reddit for the most part. Gwant. Another one NPG says, same. It's getting annoying being an H3 fan. I look forward to After Dark way more now. And Ben Stiller says, I've enjoyed the show for many years, and honestly enjoy it these days as much as, or even more than ever. But the negative press and internet perception gets to be a lot. It's extremely rare to run into another fan in the wild. Much more common to see comment sections full to the brim with hate.
I've known a lot of I actually have seen a lot of like fallen H3 fans that have not been like snarkers, you know what I mean? Like they just stop being a fan of Ethan Klein, but they don't snark after him, and they just feel like kind of disappointed, especially with this whole like recent lawsuit thing. It's happening even more. And again, I kind of have a tough time feeling bad for Ethan in this instance because he really is just doing it to himself.
Not a good feeling.
I've had like very on and off opinions about Ethan Klein over the years. Like I had a period where I really liked him. During the Leafy is Here era, I really liked him. During the whole iDubbbz era in 2016, 2017, 2018, I liked Ethan. I kind of started to have problems with him in 2019 and 2020. During COVID especially, I had problems with Ethan. But then, like, as the years went on, the whole CPS thing happened, and then I liked Ethan again, and now I'm at a period where it's like, I can't really defend Ethan. I wouldn't say I dislike Ethan or hate him, but I certainly am. You're not going to catch me defending him on this.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not going anywhere. Just want the legal shenanigans to be behind us. Need to then tweets out this clip with the caption, Nicholas Diorio disavows Ethan Klein's lawsuit against iDubbbz.
iDubbbz is now being sued by Ethan Klein. And obviously, I mean, you guys know my position on this. I think this is fucking stupid. I think this is just entirely spite driven.
Oh, yeah, it is. There's no other, like, again, the whole, oh, it's for his kids, it's for this, it's for that, they're all excuses. It's bullshit. It's not for those reasons at all. And I feel like deep down, a lot of people defending it know this deep down. I genuinely think they know it deep down that it's for spite, but they're doing it as, like, a defense because they're very loyal to Ethan. And loyalty's a great trait, but... you know, also being loyal and being, like, a good person also means, like, trying to be like, hey, you know, this shit's not cool. Like, letting them know, like, you gotta hold them to that if you want to be, like, loyal in, like, a true sense.
And it doesn't really make any sense to me.
And you could still be, like, listen, if Ethan Klein somehow, like, realizes, you know what, I don't think he's going to do this at all. It's very unlikely he will. But let's just say in, like, a hypothetical world, Ethan Klein's like, you know what, yeah, this is, like, fucked up. This is kind of an L. I am being petty and I shouldn't weaponize the legal lawsuit. And then he, like, drops the iDubbbz case, like, out of nowhere. That would actually, like, show some level of integrity. And, like, even, like, after this lawsuit, like, even if he does go through with it, you can still support Ethan, I guess, because there are things to like about him and there are good things he's done, but it's tough, man. I just even like I remember like very clearly, like, wasn't Dan like kind of against this lawsuit as well? Even he was like kind of like I don't know about this one, boss. Like, I'm pretty sure even Dan was like kind of like a bit split on this lawsuit.
But whatever, that's the direction he's going in. I give the disavowal or whatever that I told you I'd give if he did it. I see people explaining why the Noah lawsuit. Look, I understand where you're coming from, but here's what Ethan said when he was talking about it. He doesn't want to look like a litigious guy who's just fucking suing everybody. Well, let me be the bearer of bad news here. He looks like the litigious guy who's fucking suing everybody.
Yeah.
There's not really another way to say it. That's what this iDubbbz thing says.
Yeah, and, like, again, Ethan sits here and he complains about how, like, his reputation is ruined and that he doesn't have any opportunities and that, like, oh, his, like, life's ruined or whatever. I don't think... Yeah, I wouldn't say his life is ruined. Like, he's still able to live with a family and a community that loves him, so I wouldn't say your life is ruined. That seems like an exaggeration. Is your reputation as good as it once was? No. But, you know, you're certainly not going to make it better with this lawsuit. And, like, if you say yourself that you don't care about optics, people are going to formulate these opinions on you if you're fucking suing everybody.
iDubbbz thing says he looks like the litigious guy who's going to sue everybody. And it's just like, if he thinks that that's justified, that's the direction he's going to go. But I'm not going to lie and say that he doesn't look like that. He does look like that.
And Gamma quotes the clip by saying, "The most pussy-ass way to distance from Ethan Klein. Of course he said it as meekly and quietly as possible. He doesn't want Ethan to swing back hard." No.
All right, well, again, there's a weird... in the commentary community, there's like a weird subgroup of people that just like snark after Nicholas DiOrio for some reason. I don't know why. Like, there's just like so many people that really hate Nicholas DiOrio. So whatever the anti-Nicholas DiOrio take was going to be is what these like smaller commentary channels are going to have.
Nicholas DiOrio also tweets out the same clip saying, "I give the disavow" or whatever. Nicholas DiOrio is such a coward. He talked in circles for 5 minutes while taking breaks to talk about how pathetic iDubbbz is so he can keep his fans happy. And Smaggle quotes the clip by saying, "Watching the full clip from last night's stream. Yeah, that was dog shit. I wouldn't want Nick to give an apathetic stance about this, but at least show some emotion. And don't make it seem like you suddenly don't care about the legal ramifications of this BS lawsuit." And some random guy online says, "It's almost like he's done 2 entire segments where he talked about why he doesn't like this and the Noah Samsen lawsuits. Sorry that you need Nick to go into every single talking point each and every time he talks about something and can't remember what he said previously." D's Nuts replies to Smaggle by saying, "Not just the lack of emotion or seriousness. DiOrio has been repeating narratives that made all criticism of Ethan look ridiculous and unfounded. DiOrio cannot do that anymore. He must reevaluate his previous takes on Ethan's redemption." The unpaid intern replies to Smaggle by saying, "iDubbbz is such a cucked loser that it's impossible to defend him when an actual injustice happens. Maybe if Ian weren't so cucked, people would actually care."
Well, I don't really think that this like disavowal of Ethan's lawsuit is really meant to feel bad for iDubbbz or feel upset at iDubbbz, because I think a majority of people who are saying this sets a bad precedent don't really like iDubbbz anyways. I'm one of those people. I don't like iDubbbz. I don't think he's a good person, so I could care less if he's financially ruined. But like Ethan Klein's intention is more petty, and he's trying to just be like inconsistent, and it objectively does set a bad precedent going forward.
Shamu tweets out this clip with the caption, "Moisted Critical disavows the Ethan Klein lawsuit."
But I just truly don't believe that this lawsuit is in any way, shape, or form helpful to anyone outside of the lawyers. They're fucking smiling ear to ear. They're salivating right now, literally drooling with a bib on. But it's harmful to, I think, literally everyone involved and does have potential ramifications for others way outside of it. I have never and will never be a fan of extreme litigation, and I have always been vocally advocating against creators going that nuclear path.
It's interesting. I've really grown to like Moist Critical like recently. Like beforehand, like he used to have a lot of like fence sitter takes. I'm not gonna lie, or like milk toast fence sitter takes that were kind of made me roll my eyes a little bit. I wasn't really a fan of some of his coverage previously. But, like, I've really grown to like him recently. Like, he's called out MAGA a lot more. Like, he's actually taken some pretty important, firm stances on stuff. So I've really grown to appreciate that. He was calling out ICE for being a domestic terrorist organization. And now he's, like, kind of calling out, like, hey, this lawsuit's kind of fucked up. And obviously people are going to be upset at Moist Critical's take. And he also is just like being less terminally online, and I think part of that is because Moist Critical is just a guy who's, as he gets older, and as any person gets older, you kind of start to gain more wisdom, you kind of gain more perspective as you actually socialize in the real world and you spend less time online, which is really nice, honestly. It's helped me a lot, definitely. Having a life in the real world is always a good thing to have. And I think Moist Critical kind of has that as well. But even saying, like, even when Moist Critical had the take of, yeah, no, I'm not terminally online anymore, like, people like Mike from PA got so fucking triggered because Hassan in his orbit has, like, some of the most terminally online communities that exist.
And I always will. Of course, there are cases where it is understandable. Like I said, going after the snarkers that sent a fraudulent CPS thing through and the skulls and stuff, that one I do understand. But this one, I could never support that, and I just can't see the real just cause behind it. And I think it is a terrible example for other creators in the space to follow, where maybe they believe that even though this is about like a Canadian defamation lawsuit, well, maybe they can try their luck in the States. You know, it's not like defamatory lawsuits are exclusive to Canada. There's better protections here, no doubt, but still, if they take from this that maybe the way to fight battles online is to go the litigious route, well, then it's just a huge mess across the board. I think it is just a very bad precedent. Even if, the lawsuit doesn't end in a victory for him, this way of engaging with discourse, I think, has always been frowned upon, but for some reason is starting to get some more support behind it, and I just fully disagree with it. I think that this is genuinely just a, big threat across the board to just the entire space. If discourse becomes, fearful of litigation flying back and forth, it's going to stifle a lot of voices and stifle some very legitimate criticism down the line. It's just not something I want to see become commonplace.
And Kesh on Hind says, stifle voices. He said he his own kids, Lamau. And Ted Fuckerson says, he literally said in the video he doesn't think what Destiny said is true.
Yeah, he does say that in the video, that he doesn't think what Destiny said was true. You could still criticize Ian for being stupid about it, but Ian does say that it's not factually true. So I don't even... I think the crazy part about this lawsuit in general is just the fact that I think Ethan Klein knows that he can't actually win this lawsuit against iDubbbz because, again, as we've established earlier, defamation is harder to prove. Now, I guess maybe Ian living in Canada would might make some legal difference. I don't know. I'm not a legal expert. But defamation in general in the US is hard to prove. And I don't even know if it's really about that, though. Regardless of whether Ethan wins or loses, and I think he knows that regardless of whether he wins or loses, he knows that this could be an opportunity to fucking just, completely sue iDubbbz into oblivion. Also, due to the fact that there's, I forget the legal term for it, but there's a certain law where you can dismiss frivolous cases more quicker in the US, or wait, in the US, not so much in Canada. Canada doesn't have those laws. I forget the legal term, or the actual term. Maybe someone can leave it in the comment section, but Canada doesn't have those laws.
He was proving a point that Ethan is selective about who he goes after.
Which I feel is all the more reason to add credibility to the fact that this is a fucking frivolous case.
And Cash says he signal boosted deranged nonsense knowing that the psychos in his audience will treat it as though it's true, regardless of whether or not he himself endorses it.
Yeah, but you have to endorse it and say that it's a fact for it to be defamation legally. Do you not understand that part? Yeah, sure, it's fucking stupid that Ian did that, but he himself said that it wasn't a fact.
And Myrtle Combat says, that's not how defamation works, or what you previously said. And Cash says, knowingly spreading false information to damage someone's reputation is actually quite literally exactly the definition of defamation. Sorry if you're too autistic to understand implication and need everything to be spelled out for you.
Jesus Christ, this makes the pro Ethan crowd not look good. And it sucks, by the way, because people like Alex the Fiction, I know his opinion or his take as of right now is that he is for the lawsuit happening. And listen, Alex the Fiction do be winning, he's editing, he's a mod for Lus, and so regardless of whether the lawsuit is or isn't happening, Alex the Fiction gets more content to edit, he gets a bigger paycheck. I respect the grind Alex the Fiction is on, even though me and Alex the Fiction have disagreeing or different opinions on this. I'm still very cool with him, I'm still very cool with people in his community, so this is no shade to him or anyone there, but I will say that saying you're too autistic to do this, I don't know, buddy, this doesn't exactly, you're trying to defend people like Ethan Klein, who a lot of people in Ethan Klein's community are not really for ableist comments. You're not exactly making your crowd look particularly good. It also especially doesn't make the pro Ethan crowd look particularly good when you have people like fucking Asmongold or other right-wing grifters that are siding with Ethan just because he's anti-Hassan. And it really is just giving more ammunition to say that Ethan Klein is a weird right-wing chud, even though he's not a right-wing chud.
But that's not my problem. And Ted Fuckers.
Really all it comes down to is the commonality between these groups is that they're all anti-Hassan.
And replies,
and we get it, Hassan is bad, but he's just a cringe guy that no one takes seriously. Who gives a shit about Hassan?
With this clip,
I'm more concerned with right-wing people that are pro-rape and pedophilia. Those are people that I am more focused on.
But Dan, you can't say in good conscience that you know for sure he's not a pedophile.
I can definitely say that he is. What I can say
I didn't say he is.
Yes, you did.
I said
literally
pedophile. All I said is pedophile. I don't know for sure.
Can we check the
Now,
file?
you might think this is a joke in poor taste, and that would be a perfectly fine...
it was, and that's why I immediately jumped at you.
Okay, so, well, Dan thinks that. He's one of the ones that thinks that. So your criticism might be that it's a joke in poor taste, but saying it's defamation is just it's dumb.
Yeah,
it's just stupid as fuck.
It's like I don't fully understand the argument here. Is Ethan saying, like, is he talking about like the way he talked about the Destiny drama, like back during the summer? Is that Ethan's point here? The way he talked about the Destiny drama, he's saying that the way he talked about it wasn't defamation because he was saying it was a joke, and so that it's not actually petty and he won't sue Destiny. Because if that's the argument that you're making, you do realize that if anything, that makes you look worse, right? Like, you're not suing. That means you would have a case against Destiny, and you're still choosing not to sue him. Like, I feel like if anything, that makes you worse.
It's a reach. It's dumb. You're dumb. This is dumb. Everything's dumb. Welcome to dumb.
Okay, I mean, if you say so. I don't know, man.
World.
Like, a lot of people seem to really not be a fan of your decision here, buddy, but whatever, I guess. Whatever. I mean, listen, you know, Ethan Klein, this is how he wants to conduct himself online. This is how he wants to conduct himself, by just suing people endlessly. Sure, fine. If that's what you want to do, that's your choice. You are an adult. You have a family. You can make whatever choice you think, I guess. But people are going to have opinions of you that are negative. That's just the outcome that's going to happen from this. It is what it is. You know, that's the choice that you decided to make knowingly.
Rise Shredder replies to the clip of Critical by saying, Charlie had to wait for what Reddit and Twitter had to say first before making this video. I
guess, like, fucking, like, again, Moist Critical did give milquetoast takes, like, in the past, but not this year. I just don't really think that criticism really is as effective or accurate of him this year.
Replies to the clip by saying, it sounds like he's only acknowledging this now that it involves iDubbbz. Like Ethan didn't also just lose a case against Denims or scare a bunch of other smaller streamers into settlements months before that. All of it has the same ramifications. Weird it only matters to him now. Substance tweets out this clip with the caption, Moist Critical says that Ethan's decision to sue only iDubbbz and not Destiny, even though Destiny originated the defamatory statement, undermines the logic of pursuing legal action against the statement at all.
Now, Ethan...
This is a pretty based argument from Moist Critical. Like, it's facts from him.
Also addresses why he's not suing Destiny as well, and he's saying because Destiny cleared up that he wasn't being serious right away. I don't understand that. I'm not gonna lie. That's not...
Well then, but that, by that logic, if iDubbbz was saying that he wasn't saying that it was a factual statement, then why fucking go after iDubbbz? It makes no sense. None of it is consistent.
Making sense to me. Can't wrap my noodle around it. It's not computing. I think it is a very disgusting statement. 100%. He's not wrong for feeling like this is a terrible thing that's being said about him. That is a line you don't cross, talking about people's children in a manner like this. It's gross. It is gross. So then why is this defamation lawsuit reserved exclusively for iDubbbz with a nice big bow on it, but not also extended to Destiny, the genesis of that comment? Does that not just prove the point that I believe iDubbbz was trying to make in the first place, which is Destiny, for some reason, can say these atrocious, abhorrent things about Ethan, and for some reason, Ethan doesn't have the same anger towards Destiny as he does someone like iDubbbz. Now, I guess with iDubbbz, you could then say, well, iDubbbz actually did meet his children and stuff, so it's an extra level of fucked up, which is fair. I do completely agree. It does add another fucked up rancid layer to this lasagna here, where he did actually know Ethan and his family and would use a comment like that to try and make his statement about, like, being soft on Destiny or whatever. But I still just don't understand why Ethan is willing to just be like, yeah, but Destiny, you know, cleared up that he wasn't being serious. He was just goofing around. He was just being a dickhead. What? If the reason truly is that Canada's laws around defamation are significantly more lax and thus you have a case in Canada but not the US, then to me that tells me that it's not really a defamation case worth pursuing. And if you're not...
This is all facts from Moist Critical. Like, I have no commentary to give over this. He's just speaking facts here.
Not going after Destiny for these comments, but you will for iDubbbz trying to make a different point about it. Again, I want to make it clear. I think the way iDubbbz went about doing this point is fucking atrocious. I don't know how much more clear I can make, but he wasn't trying to argue the legitimacy of the claim or anything like that.
He explicitly says it in the clip. So yeah, again, this is facts from Moist Critical.
It was to show that you're very soft on Destiny, but not others, and used that outrageously gross comment as an example of it. But if you're going after iDubbbz solely because you know you can get a defamation case win because of Canada's laws not being as protective as the US's, that's why you don't go after Destiny, then that to me says that you were just trying to take advantage of those laws, the lax nature of those laws in Canada, to get revenge on someone that has wronged you.
And text me when that happens replies, difficult to sue someone for defamation who you also defamed. Same reason Hassan and Destiny will never sue each other. Mav says, why does Moist Critical feel the need to make a video on a situation without just looking into the situation that happened? Ethan, an opportunistic shit stain that he is, went after Destiny trying to paint him as a because of jokes Destiny made in the past. Destiny then went and pointed out jokes Ethan made in the past. Internal replies, and also his troll account like it was info he secretly had. But also, Destiny is that same opportunistic shit stain, whether it be by being an orbiter to Hassan and friends, like Ethan, lol, or heck, showcasing mentally ill women on stream for content. Debate him too. Yeats then also posted this clip of Ethan responding to some of the comments on the stream, with the caption, Ethan Klein explains why he's suing iDubbbz and not Destiny.
So yes, I am suing my former bestie, iDubbbz.
Yeah, totally not on the nose. You specifically say former bestie, being more with like a petty undertone. Again, it just feels like you know you're doing this in a petty way. You know what you're doing. Like, it's not about the actual fucking claim itself. You just want to financially ruin him because you guys are not friends anymore after like 8 years of friendship because you're hurt. And I get it, you're hurt. Those feelings are valid, but this is fucking insane. You're the guy who has fought frivolous lawsuits, and now you're making frivolous lawsuits. This is a terrible standard to set.
I'll shortly explain why, because to me it kind of doesn't. It's not that big of a mystery. So, Ian has deeply aligned himself with the snark community that is basically responsible for and celebrated CPS coming to my house to take my children away. And sending human skulls to my home. These are two things.
Yeah, we get it. These things are terrible, and I'm sorry they happened to you, but are we gonna go like 5 years later and you're still gonna use CPS and human skulls as an excuse? Like 5 years later, like how many times can you say CPS and human skulls before it becomes like, it's kind of a thing of the past now? Like people have moved on. People have stopped caring. And I don't mean to say that to be mean, but like that's just not really like a valid excuse anymore because you keep using it as an excuse. You're using them as like human shields and excuses to do whatever the fuck it is you're doing.
That on the Snark Discord they have on the banner, they have a skull with CPS on the forehead. They think it's funny. They love it. They're proud of it. And iDubbbz aligns with them, shouts them out, calls them great people. He browses the subreddit on his live stream. He's in deep with them. In fact, even in his follow-up to his content cup, he justified it. He says, I think it's good that CPS was called and investigated that because clearly, as someone who's been to Ethan's house and met his children, there's shit all over the place, and his kids are clearly in trouble and would be in better care of would be better taken care of in foster care. He does it as a watermark for his whole hours-long stream. It's a comment that says, quick daily reminder that Ethan from H3 is likely a who has molested his own children. And he's basically rebroadcasting this comment uncritically. And also, if you kind of, I don't know how it works in Canada, if the complaint is public or what. But if you look at it, he emphasizes throughout that he does think it's a serious accusation that needs to be investigated and that he doesn't think it's a joke.
Well, yeah, it's a serious accusation, but that's different from saying that he thinks that it's true or that he says it like it's a fact, which is required for defamation. He's just saying that this serious accusation exists that you should address or whatever, which maybe you already did, and like you can argue that like this is like a poor way of handling it. Doesn't really, based on the way Ian worded it, legally this would not be defamation. And like again, Ethan Klein's not a stupid person. He knows that this legally wouldn't be defamation based on Ian's wording. Which again, more ammunition to say that this is frivolous and he's doing it to fucking run him into the ground just because he doesn't like him.
Right.
That's the bad precedent that's being set here.
Now I know people are like, well, why don't you sue Destiny for saying it? Well, Destiny made it immediately. First of all, this is a comment from Destiny, like made in passing. Ian put it on his screen for 2 hours during his main broadcast.
Oh, I fucking hate this argument so much. People constantly regurgitate this argument, and it makes no fucking sense. Defamation is defamation. I don't give a shit if Destiny said it in a fucking chat message. Like, if anything, people are gonna take Destiny way more fucking seriously. Just because it's in a chat message doesn't mean it's not defamatory. I've never understood this argument. Like, people are, like, gonna take Destiny more seriously than iDubbbz would on his fucking stream to, like, only 100 people. Destiny has, like, tons of people that are constantly viewing his chat messages that would subscribe to these ideas. And people take him more seriously. Like, objectively, he's the one that originated this fucking claim. I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is, like, if you guys want to say that it's not equal, I agree it's not equal, but not for the reasons you think.
Destiny made it.
It makes no sense to me. This is not a fucking. You're hand waving Destiny so you can justify running Ian into the ground.
Clear that,
like, whatever. If you want to run Ian into the ground, like, fuck him. But, like, oh my god,
he was not.
Just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, it literally is a frivolous lawsuit.
Being serious, right?
Like, all Ethan Klein is really doing is he is now publicly going to be known as the lawsuit guy.
Pretty much immediately after writing it, like, nobody was like,
yeah, so did Ian. Like, he says that the claim wasn't true.
Yo, Destiny,
that's what makes this bullshit.
This claim that Ethan molested his children. Oh shit. No, people knew that when Destiny said it was like, he was just being a dickhead, or I mean, he was being a giant fucking piece of shit, right? But he immediately afterwards made it clear that he didn't actually think that. But Ian,
oh my fucking god, I don't think he gets it. No, he does get it, actually. No, scratch that. He does get it. He knows deep down. This is all excuses.
Took that, and just because
this is such an L for you, Ethan. Sorry, but like, you're taking a huge L here.
Because you're showing what someone else said doesn't make it not defamation, because you're showing essentially this accusation bare of context and also kind of saying that you think it's true, right? Again,
he's not saying that, though. He said the opposite in the clip. What are you talking about?
After CPS visited my house, I mean, I personally, with all the shit that we've been through, and I've been through a lot of shit with a lot of people online, I mean, this is just fucking unhinged, right? And Ian is spending his whole day on Twitter retweeting people like Jake Chinatown, who says he wants to take my children by their ankles and slam them into a tree till they're bloody pulp. Right, and these are my children, of course. I'm sure, I don't know how many of these people are like Moist Critical has. He doesn't have children, as far as I'm aware. But I said from the beginning that if people want to go after my children, then the rules of engagement have changed forever, and that's what I said then. And when when Ian broadcast this, I sent him a cease and desist, because I mean, there's certain things that you don't say and you don't do, and lines you don't cross. And they flaunted it. They didn't take it seriously. And essentially, right, and I don't know how Moist Critical or other people feel about this, but if somebody who has met your children and family said that you molested your children after CPS has been to your house to investigate your house and interviewed your children against your will, I really don't know how. I'm assuming people that don't understand don't have the full context, right? So I'm being like, I'm just giving the full context, because like, and all that, I mean, I don't see how you can say that I'm not justified. Then the other thing I hear is like, this is a grave threat against free speech. No, it's not. Defamation laws exist in every major Western country, because you can't just say people molested their children. That's not free speech. That's not protected speech. You can't accuse someone of committing a heinous crime. That's not, if they didn't. That's not.
So sue Destiny then. If it's not protected speech, sue Destiny then.
Free speech. That's not protected speech. It's literally not protected speech. It's actually.
So go after Destiny. He made the fucking claim. Oh, right. You're not gonna do that because you're being petty here.
Explicitly carved out in the law as, you know, this is the legal route you take when someone defames you, right? My children enter the picture, and I said this back then, the bets are off, and the rules have changed, and I will do everything to ensure that people do not talk about my children in this way.
All right, whatever, dude. You do you. Whatever. I'm not that invested. Whatever. I give up. Like, you do you. Like, you're an adult. You clearly want to go through with this. I don't agree with you at all, and that's where I stand on that. But whatever. I mean, I'm not really that invested. This drama really doesn't affect me that much. So at the end of the day, like, what fucking ever. But don't be surprised if people call you out on the internet and formulate bad opinions on you. That's what this comes down to.
Way. People do not do death celebrate killing my children on people like Ian feel comfortable saying this types of stuff or retweeting people to say they want to kill my children, which he has done. Listen, I'm pretty heavy free speech, like for the most part, but obviously I acknowledge that there's limits to it. I mean, we all agree you can't shout fire in a movie theater, right? Because it's dangerous. Can you just accuse people of molesting their own children if it's not true? It's not free speech. It's not. Why would that be protected? What kind of fucking world would that be if that was protected speech? Not one I want to live in, right? And there should be recourse. There should be accountability. Just don't say that, right?
And John C. replies, Ian didn't call CPS, didn't send the skulls, and didn't write the comments from Epstein. None of this is relevant at all to the lawsuits. Ethan is just a sobbing baby and his community is just there to coddle him. Pathetic. Everything happening to Ethan is his own fault. Man-child. And Raymond Rax says, sadly, if you're involved with the people doing these actions, even if not at the time you came into the circle during, you become at a crossfire for accessory of the crime threat committed. He can easily be sued as an accessory of this action due to him cheering it on straight after. And it's the pot emoji says, that's not how being an accessory to a crime works. That's not even how being an accessory after the fact works. And John C. also says that is not at all how being an accessory works. Also, he never cheered it on. He simply said that the insanity around Ethan is mostly due to Ethan's behavior, and that yes, if someone tactically admits that their kid was ingesting dog poop, that a CPS isn't a stretch. Ethan Klein then responds in his Instagram story, and he'd also post it with the caption, Ethan Klein comments on Moist Critical and the Denham's lawsuits. Now we'll read both of these, even though we've been covering the Denham's lawsuit in separate series. It's fine, we'll just read them both. In terms of Critical, he says, Charlie's coverage was fair. It's okay that he disagrees, and I don't expect everyone who hasn't heard of me talk about this stuff for hours to understand the intricacies of everything. And even if you have, it's fine to have a differing opinion. I appreciate him being respectful, hearing me out, and reading my statements. Ultimately, I am a father protecting my children. That is something I hope even the most cynical among us should be able to understand. And no matter how you cut it, $22 is still a lot for a bag of cookies. And on Denham's, he says,
is that like a dig at the whole fucking Pokemon drama or whatever?
There's a lot of confusion about.
Is that how they like first connected Moist Critical and Ethan? I don't know the lore on that part, so maybe that reference went above my head.
About the Denham's lawsuits, so allow me to clarify. I haven't commented on it because it's not over. The judge issued a tentative ruling ahead of our Friday hearing. The judge has since heard our oral arguments and is yet to issue his final ruling, at which time I will discuss it on the show. It seems foolish to jump to a conclusion before there is one. And Short Guy Jim says, can't read past I am a father protecting without laughing. Shout out to our tier 3 member.
I don't know, man. It's like, God bless Ethan and his family. You know, I hope Ethan and his family are okay. Hopefully his children live and prosper, and hopefully, you know, Ethan does a good job raising his kids. He is doing a good job raising his kids, obviously. But, yeah, the situation's just an L for Ethan overall. That's just how I feel about it.
There's internet representatives Kiko, Salsad, Coldest Bandito, Cats and Crash Out, Dearboy, Noobster, Mr. X, and Squunchmo. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you all in the next episode.
It really is a bad day to be an Ethan Klein fan right now. Sucks, you know. I'm cool with a lot of them. Hopefully, you know, better days are coming. But yeah, really a bit of a shitty period for Ethan Kleinslop. So I was editing this video, and literally as I was editing this video, Ian releases this video called Apologizing to Ethan. And I spent an entire segment talking about how I really don't like that Ethan is going through with this lawsuit, but that all might change with this video because iDubbbz uploaded this video and Ethan actually left a comment saying that he is contacting his lawyers to retract the lawsuit immediately. So Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense to just add this part of the segment at the very end of the video, just because it makes sense to do that.
Hello, everyone. I am going to be talking about a very important and heavy topic for me.
Heavy topic?
If you're
I mean, lawsuits are heavy, but like usually when people talk about heavy topics, it's like trauma or whatever. I don't know, whatever.
Familiar with the context of any of this, I'll give you a brief rundown. But that is not the main purpose of this video. I do think it's important to share a little bit of my side of the story, but I don't want to take away from the purpose of this video, and that is to apologize to Ethan Klein and his family, especially his kids. Basically,
that's a little bit disingenuous from the start. I'm not gonna lie. Like, listen, I don't fucking agree with Ethan's lawsuit. I mean, he's seemingly retracting it, which is like good, but like, I just don't particularly think that this is genuine, because if you really felt bad for his kids, I feel like you would have made that clear in the very first Content Cop video. You disavowed Ethan, and you like pretty much regurgitated the lie that his kids rolled around in dog shit in the Content Cop and the Content Deputy video that you made last year. So I don't particularly think that this part's genuine. I feel like, honestly, what this is really more than anything is like iDubbbz feels like he's forced to say this. I don't think he actually means this. I think he is being forced to say this because he's getting sued by Ethan Klein. And on one hand, it's like a similar idea as the Casey Tron lawsuit, but the Casey Tron lawsuit was settled, and so now it was, well, I thought it was Frogan, but apparently, like, Frogan lost the lawsuit by default, and now I think what's left is just the Denims lawsuit.
Ethan is suing me for having rebroadcasted a statement made by Destiny on my stream. I did display the very disgusting comment for
yeah, he was basically saying that Ethan Klein was a pedophile. Again, I've already said it throughout this entire video, so I'm not gonna like go into specifics about my take on it again, but like I still think that it's bullshit that Ethan only went after iDubbbz for the comment and not Destiny, because even though Destiny not only originated the claim, but I would argue Destiny doing it is worse because he has a bigger sway over people's opinions than iDubbbz does.
40 minutes.
Like, iDubbbz is such a lolcow that this lawsuit was just not even worth pursuing.
And it was wrong. It was a comment from Destiny, and I even said that I don't agree with it, but it sort of highlights how I knew that it was a wrong thing to put out there into the universe and show people. You know, regardless of the point I was making, it was wrong. I was angry, and I was like, how do I get this guy to, one, not clip me, not mock me and harass me on his live stream, and two, this guy's a fucking bully. I'm angry. I'm angry that this multimillionaire is silencing people and suing people who have a much smaller audience than he does.
Well, I would say that the other lawsuits are fairly justified. I mean, Noah Samson said a bunch of defamatory shit about Ethan Klein being a genocidal baby killer and stuff, and he was basically saying he's a Zionist freak. Like, Noah Samson's an incredibly dishonest freak that, like, unironically hates Jewish people. And then, like, Denims, Frogan, and Casey Tron, they were trying to maliciously react to Ethan's content. They admitted to doing so. So I would say those reasons are much more valid to sue them. Whereas iDubbbz is just, like, it's getting to a point where Ethan Klein is looking like the guy that just sues everybody. And, I mean, like, he's retracting this lawsuit from Ian, which I guess is a good start, but like, I just wonder if Ethan Klein has, like, even the smallest beef with someone, is he just gonna sue that person as well? Because that's kind of what he's, like, optically looking as. And I mean, again, Ethan doesn't really care about optics, but I really think that he should more.
And, you know, can barely defend themselves. And so I'm angry. I don't like bullies. So I wanted to do something that would have an impact. And
oh, well, that's a little bit cringe then. Because, like, if you're putting it up on your stream for tons of people to see, like, even if you don't agree with the statement and you made it clear you don't agree with the statement, that sort of, I feel like putting out this statement almost is, like, kind of a self-report, because it's like, I mean, like, it's not like we didn't know that you were trying to get a rise out of Ethan Klein and get a reaction of him, but it's also kind of a self-report to some of the previous stuff you've done, like the whole swastika sword. Like, you guys were trying to play on the fact that, like, oh, it's all in Ethan's head, he's hallucinating anti-Semitism. But I feel like deep down you guys knew about that as well. That's also kind of a bit of a weird self-report.
You know, without checking in with myself of whether or not that was a right or wrong thing to do. I justified it in my head at the time. I was like, okay, well, it's not my words, and it's actually said by a really bad guy, Destiny. Not a fan of that guy. It's very clear that it was never the right thing to do. It was a comment about Ethan and his children, and it was disgusting. I said at the time in the stream that I don't agree with it, but still sharing it and broadcasting it to people for 40 minutes, that was an irresponsible and reckless thing to do, especially for parents. Like,
well, I think also a big criticism for your content is the only time you can really be relevant these days, iDubbbz, is if by like snarking after Ethan Klein. That's like the only time you like are ever relevant. Like outside of that, you're a soulless fuck. Like no one really cares about you. So I don't like. I think that you probably I would say the most charitable interpretation is iDubbbz was just doing this for attention. He didn't actually believe it. That is like the most charitable like interpretation you can give to Ian in this situation. Whereas the least charitable is that he knowingly spread a lie about Ethan Klein being a pedophile. Even if he says that he didn't agree with it, that's like the least charitable way. Or you could even say that he did agree with it. That's another least charitable interpretation of it. I don't think that Ian agreed with the comments that were being made. I think putting it on display on your stream was a very idiotic thing to do, for sure. But I also don't think that you were doing it. I think you were just doing it to like get under his skin, being like, oh, hey, like these allegations exist. You should address them even if they're not factually true. It still wouldn't really legally qualify for defamation. It would just be like, you know what I mean? I don't know. But it's pretty clear that like Ethan is bullying iDubbbz into submission, and then like Ethan is now retracting the statement, I guess now. So I guess like overall, like Ethan's not going through with it, so I guess kind of a win, but I can't help, maybe my opinion on this will change over time, but I can't help but feel walking away from this feeling like, who's next? You know, because we already have so many other lawsuits in the chamber that Ethan is doing. What lawsuit is he going to get into next? Like, it's only a matter of time before someone says something that Ethan doesn't like, and then he just sues that person to bully them into the ground, regardless of whether or not it is or it isn't a frivolous lawsuit. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's a certain precedent that's being set that I don't like about this situation. Forget about iDubbbz for 1 second. Like, yeah, you could think iDubbbz is a loser. I agree with you. But, like, just, like, going into the future, how do we know that Ethan isn't going to do this to someone else in the future? That's really what I'm walking away from this situation thinking.
There are many parents with kids out there who do not want to see that shit, and it's painful. And I'm sure it was extremely painful for Ethan and Hila to read that shit and have it pop up again and again and again.
Well, not for nothing, but you knew it would be painful for them and you still posted it. That's why I feel like that's part of why you did it. You did it to get under their skin.
Just because it's coming from
like, let's not pretend that you suddenly care about this. You're only doing this because you're scared that he's fucking suing you. Like, Ethan bullied iDubbbz into submission successfully, which realistically was not a difficult thing to do because iDubbbz is a total pussy, but that is what happened.
Piece of shit guy, and I'm showing it to people like, look what this piece of shit said. It's wrong. It's wrong to do, and I didn't come to this overnight, right? Like, to be frank, I'm angry. I do not like Ethan. I think he's doing a lot of damage to people online, and it changed the way that I was thinking about it. I didn't think about it. I didn't ground myself. I didn't think about, who is actually being affected in this instance. And Ethan's family and his kids are being affected. You know, I just because I don't like Ethan, I think it's wrong to find an attack vector that is his kids. It's It's foul. It's not okay. And I think it was wrong for me to use the Destiny screenshot as a cudgel to make my point. I didn't need to.
I mean, for what it's worth, I guess this part of the video is genuine. I mean, I really wish we could have seen this energy when you were spreading the lie about his kids rolling around in dog shit in his fucking hit pieces. But, like, I don't know. It just feels like you should have said this, like, way sooner, buddy. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like too little too late. I mean, for what it's worth, Ethan is retracting the lawsuit. He commented on this video that he is getting his lawyers to drop the case. So Ian's no longer being sued, but yeah, that's just where we're at, I suppose.
Use the Destiny screenshot to make my point. There's a million other ways I could have done it, but I didn't. And I regret that I didn't, and I regret that I ever put that screenshot on my live stream. You know, that's the main reason why I feel like I do need, for myself, for my soul, to own up to this and acknowledge that I went too far. It wasn't okay. Ethan and Hila and their family do not deserve that. At the end of the day, whatever happens with the lawsuit is what it is. For myself, I needed to make it known on the internet that what I did was wrong, and I don't want to be that person. I don't want to behave that way. I want to make content that I'm proud of. I don't want
some content you've got there, Ian. You know, you just stream, play Wordle, and you just say very little. I don't know, man. Like, calling it content is a little bit generous, my guy.
Want to give in to a harassment back and forth online.
That's been your entire content strategy, though. Is like, when you're fucking low on views, you just snark after Ethan. And now, like, listen, weirdly enough, actually, I'm gonna bring up something very interesting. Weirdly enough, I think that, like, regardless of what Ian does, he's fucked financially. Like, he's already a poor guy, and he's barely making any money off of his content. So, like, the only time that he even has, like, a small chance of making some level of money is by snarking after Ethan Klein. And now that he can't do that anymore because of this video, he's still financially fucked. So, ultimately, Ethan still got the same outcome either way, regardless of whether he does or doesn't sue IDubbbz here. Like, he's just so fucked. Like, this man's life is just so fucked beyond repair that it's like, he can't even... He just, you can't snark after Ethan anymore. Your big bucks are gone, bucko.
I want to put my energy into making content that I can be proud of and that I'm not going to be ashamed of because I lost the plot.
God, we're still rehashing the fucking, like, old cop content and the old edgy content. We have to shoehorn that into this video as well.
I want to
just keep whipping yourself, buddy.
Stay focused. I want to check in with myself and know what...
Guys, please give me good boy points. He's so insufferable. Give me good boy points, please, guys. I want to behave. Am I behaving, guys? Please, I'm behaving. He's so insufferable.
I want to be and what I want to do. And
why are you so gay? Like, I'm sorry. I love gay people, by the way, but, like, why are you so gay? Like, come on. Oh, man. Dude, it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Oh my god. Like, it's one thing if you got bullied in submission, but now we're shoehorning in all of our old content previously. What are we fucking doing? Oh my god, man.
And what message I want to spread. And this isn't a message I want to spread. So I'm sorry to Ethan and Hila and your family. You guys didn't deserve that. I'm going to think about all of this a lot more, I'm sure. But for now, I really do want to just get back to making the content that I want to make. Having said all that, I wish everyone the best. I genuinely want to see a better world, and I do not want to be a contributor to what makes it terrible. So,
well, I don't know. I mean, I guess for what it's worth, you're a great contributor, but only because you give us content to make, not because you're a great contributor in the way you think. I don't know. Whatever.
So long. Bye-bye.
Alrighty. Well, I would say the outcome of this situation where Ethan drops the lawsuit is... This was, like, the most likely outcome that could have came from the situation. You know, that Ethan bullies iDubbbz into submission, and then he retracts the loss. It just makes sense that this was the outcome of the situation that came of it. Still very bad precedent going forward, though. Who knows who's coming next?